What's up, Sooner Nation? What's up, Sooner fans? Welcome to the Sooner Surge post-game live instant reaction. If you're not part of what's going on, make sure you're subscribed to the Sooner Surge channel. We have the Sooner Surge Unlimited coming your way. Make sure you click the link. You'll see it in the comments section as you can join the Discord server. But, man, let's get to it, Jay. A game really that almost had it all. Maybe not what Sooner fans expected in some areas, but what a big win this was to be able to win going away a little bit at the end. Played a great. That fourth quarter was super special. A lot of good plays that we can get to, but I'm going to be honest with you. Very much hard to watch first three quarters on the offensive side of the ball. But kudos to this defense. We've talked about it before. OU fans across the state have really wanted to see a defense that could get after it, and we saw that today. Holding SMU to 11 points is very special, very impressive, especially considering the way the offense was kind of sputtering along there. Cooper's already – hey, let's go ahead and put what Cooper said because I agree. Cooper, it's the play calling early. There was no going down the field. It was so much dump downs and heavy running. I was very questionable on that.
Well, it's frustrating because you got guys like Freeman, Stoops, Farouk. We can go on and name guys.
Gibson, Anderson.
You got to get the ball in their hands and let them make plays. It was way too conservative. I don't know really what his thinking was behind it. I mean, one time it was 3rd and 8 and they ran the ball. I mean, even Venables on the sideline I thought was like, I mean, let's go. We got to do something else. I mean, very frustrating with the play calling I was just as a fan. I will say this. The defense, the way they played for only allowing 11 points, guys, they played. I'd have to look up how many plays they played, but it was a lot. I mean, they were on the field a lot there, especially the second and third quarter. And kudos to them. They made plays. They didn't get – I don't think they got one sack. Ethan had one at their end, but it was a face mask. But they got pressure on him at times, but the coverage was pretty good. I mean, you didn't really mention Woody Washington's name at all because his guy didn't really get thrown to. I mean, Bowman got beat early on, but overall defense played great. Offense has got to be better. You're not if you perform like that against Texas per se. I'm just watching Texas Alabama. Texas about to beat Alabama. I think you're going to be in for world of hurt playing that conservatively. And here's the thing. Another thing I got to get something else off my chest. If you're going to bring Jackson Arnold in, throw the ball. He's a 5-star quarterback. Don't just run up the middle with him. Use him as something else. I don't know. Why bring him in?
Hey, and what Eric's saying here is what we were saying throughout the game, Jay. It's either DG is not making progressions and throwing down the field and just taking the dump off, or I mean, I don't understand how Gibson and Anderson never got look. I'm going to talk about one play here specifically. We had Anthony on the left side, and he was running a post route right off the get-go, off the snap, and DG looked at him real quick, didn't give it a chance, and dumped it down to Tawee Walker. That is the DG we saw last year in those games where he wouldn't take risks. Let's let guys go up and make plays a little bit. I was disappointed in that, and you're right, Eric. You don't just run Arnold. He's not the bulldozer here. This is not – I mean, I think a few times they could have thrown the ball.
Yeah, he's a 5-star quarterback.
Yeah. But DG has got to either make better progressions, right, or he's going to have to take risks.
My biggest complaint about DG, and you can go back to last year if you remember me saying it, my thing is I think he gets focused on one receiver. Like tonight it was Andrew Anthony, and it's like every time Anthony. When there's other guys like Farouk finally got a ball thrown to him, and what you do? Gets a missed tackle, makes a cut, touchdown. You got to get your plays. You got to spread it around, and you got to get it in everybody's hands. Like you mentioned, Gibson. Last week, he wasn't open on the deep balls. They just threw it up to him. Make a play. Go make a play.
I don't think
you got to challenge it down the field.
Hey, I don't think DG likes to take risks. He really hasn't in his whole career. He's not a guy who throws a lot of picks, and I think part of the reason is he doesn't take risks. But I'll give Levy one great call was the one to Major on the wheel route out of the backfield. Of course, he got called back for Guyton being down the field and eligible. But Marcus Major made a great catch on that out route, and DG did put that one there outside of the defender, and he made a juke there. But Tolly Walker played well. He broke tackles. I don't know what's going on in the running back room. Sawchuk and Barnes in the Cheez-It Bowl looked like they're going to be the future. And they're barely getting on the field.
That's all we heard about all off season, was it not?
I'm shocked.
Jeremy, we were trying to come up with nicknames for their duo, Barnes, Sawchuk, Barchuk.
I agree. I don't know. And
taking nothing away from Tolly Walker and Major, because Major made some plays tonight, big plays. Tolly Walker was a beast tonight. I'm not saying that. But for the fact that Barnes gets 2 carries, Sawchuk 1, I'm a little confused on that part of it. I am.
Oh, for sure. And again, how Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson, how they never get the ball thrown their way is unbelievable. Stogner got the 1 catch on the little running back flare that he comes out of the backfield. Stoops, hey, Levy's offense does a lot of quick slants. I mean, Anthony caught 3 or 4 quick slants tightly guarded. Stoops caught 1 massive 3rd down play where he holds onto the ball, almost got it stripped. That was a massive play. If they have to punt there's a chance they lose that game. I mean, they're going to be on the ropes. I will say this about the offense, though. They did answer when they cut the score to 14-11, the offense answered with a big drive. But you know why? They started throwing the ball down the field a little, down the middle of the field.
Yeah, and you can say this overall about the whole team. The way they responded tonight, I mean, the defense a few times bowed up and was like, last year that doesn't happen. And another thing, last year, guys, if you were watching the game right, Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, they were getting in there at times that were pretty important. Venables is playing a lot of guys. He did tonight too, RSJ. I mean, I can go on and on about guys that played, and they still played well.
You're right. Hey, Eric, we were looking at the stat, 64 yards. I mean,
what?
They were under OU, the University of Oklahoma was under 100 yards, I think, through 3 quarters throwing the ball.
Well, first half he was 9 for 14 for like 64 yards. I mean,
and I don't know how much. And listen, I don't know how much is Levy and how much is DG not being able to make reads very quick.
Well,
he got there again, Jay, like we talked about last year. He focused on the first receiver, and if it wasn't there, he dumped down. He didn't want to stay there and look around.
Well, and I will say, Gabriel did make a few early runs that were pretty good out of the pocket. But I wonder if it's more of, we talked about this last year on, I don't remember what game he threw his first interception. Do you remember last year? But almost like he wasn't making throws because he didn't want to throw it into coverage and, risk an interception. But with the playmakers, they got a receiver. You got to throw the ball. I mean, you got to give them chances, period. End of story.
Yeah.
And where is Austin Stogner? I mean, there was one time on the telecast, they said he was wide open and Gabriel missed him. I don't know if that's true or not. Hey, speaking of telecast, they showed hardly any replays. ESPN,
none.
It was awful. I know it's on TV at least, it was Sooner Vision, whatever it was, but the replays,
ESPN Plus, man.
The referees, the pass interference on Peyton Bowen in the end zone was awful call. Speaking of Bowen, he is unreal for a true freshman. He really is.
5-star guys. Hey, This is what you're going to see in the future. When you get 4 stars and 5 stars, it makes a difference. I do want to talk about the defense because that was a huge bright point, positive for OU is, I tell you what, the defense, even when they missed plays, they were running. I mean, they were chasing them down. They were going after it. I did like that. Kennick had a couple of, interference calls wrapped around, but he was in position. They still didn't get a lot of pressure. I tell you a guy who played pretty well was Key Lawrence. Key Lawrence played well.
Yeah, they had pressure, but just not like all-out blitz pressure. A few times they did, but if you watch, Bothroyd was getting around his guy quite a bit. And, hey, I can count probably on one hand. I mean, I can count the amount of holds. I mean, R. Mason Thomas was getting – I mean, one time Chavis about lost his mind because he got tackled.
So did Audibore at the end.
Those were Big 12 referees, by the way.
Hey, yeah, they were. Jay,
yeah.
A lot of the young guys, Audibore, Bowen, Kip Lewis, Kobe, they did play some depth, especially – here's what I thought was interesting late in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, when it was 21-11, some of those guys were getting in there. I think that tells you some of the guys were tired. But Danny Stutzman was a man. Danny Stutzman.
Unreal.
Danny Stutzman, man. Did he get how many, 20?
I think he had 18 tackles. I'd have to look at it. At one time
he was great.
And, hey, here's what people don't talk about as much. But I could rewatch that game and maybe one missed tackle. I'm serious. The tackling is night and day difference. Is it not? Open field tackling, it's night and day difference. And they actually hit and not just swing at it. I mean, and another guy that played really good, in my opinion, Kenai Walker.
He did get beat a couple times, but he played really well because he had to come in out of the get-go because Gentry came back in, but he didn't stay in very long.
I mean, the Bowen call was ridiculous.
Oh, the Bowen call was ridiculous. And, hey, I'm just going to say this about the D, like Eric says here. This was a chance for the defense to step up, and they did because, honestly, the last 5 years, OU loses that game. OU's defense would not have made a stop.
They would have been trailing in the third quarter most other years because they would, if their offense sputtered like that, the defense would have been.
Jacob Lacey
not breaking.
Jacob Lacey played a quietly good game in the middle.
He started.
Yeah, he played a good game in the middle. OU was able to stop the run for the most part. Preston Stone was
3.3 yards a carry for SMU. I mean, that's really good defense on the run.
I thought Preston Stone was as advertised, but we didn't let the tight end get loose. That was a big deal. We talked about it before the game. OU didn't let the tight end get loose. Special teams. Let's talk. The block punt by, again, Peyton Bowen was a huge start. And then they were perfect on extra points. The punting was great. It's interesting that they brought in they let Plaster punt from way back.
Yeah, the lefty.
When it was time to pooch the ball or get inside the 20, they switched it up a little bit. So
were you shocked that Gavin Freeman didn't play as much?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he had a chance on a few, but Neo says, chill out about the lack of pressure. They were using max protection. That is true. And, the defense, you can't fault the defense at all tonight because they held them to 11 points. I agree. And they were able to chase Preston Stone out of the pocket a few times.
Yeah, they were putting pressure where he had to throw the balls quicker. Even Teddy Lehman said that on the broadcast on the radio that, hey, they're not getting sacks, but they're getting pressure. We're making him move or throw it quicker. And you're right. That was a great comment. They were doing max protection. They talked about it on the broadcast as well on the TV. And that's what was kind of confusing. Sometimes they would do max protect, and they would only have two receivers going out for a route, and they would, a couple times they still busted it and got him. OU was playing that zone. They play that zone back coverage, which worked pretty good for the most part today. I mean, you can't fault the defense. I don't know what the total yardage was, but really good performance by the defense. Here's a question for
370, 380 for SMU, I think, which is great for us.
Here's a question for the viewers to comment, because we're talking about this watching the game. Would you rather have it this way with the defense playing really good and being happy about the defense, or the defense playing like they have in years and the offense putting up 60? I kind of prefer that, hey, the defense kind of stood up tonight. And I think right now the defense – I think this is going to be the best defense they've had in a long time. Just looking at the amount of talent they have, I just don't see a way they're not going to be as good this year.
SMU is a team that posed a lot of trouble. This is a team that probably has one of the better offenses OU is going to see this year. They could run and pass. OU made them pretty one-dimensional and was able to, like you say, hold them to 11 points in a game that the defense had to play an enormous amount of plays, honestly, because they were not getting any help from the offense. I mean, how many fourth downs, Jay, did OU have to just – I mean, SMU probably had 7 fourth down opportunities. OU had to stop them 4 down several times. So,
and on third downs in the first half, I want to say they were like 3 of 10. They weren't doing very good on third down. And SMU wasn't. So,
and OU was not as good on third down as they were last week. Obviously, it was Arkansas State, but this has been a concern. We know it was last year. And again, the offense, I was shocked Jackson Arnold came in that quickly. But like you said, I wish they would have thrown the ball a little with him out of that formation because he can sling it. I don't want it to just be the bulldozer with Jackson Arnold. That's not who he is.
No, I mean, he can run the ball, but if you watch any of his high school tape, he's a quarterback that throws the ball. I mean, the running, yes, he can make plays off his feet, but he's not a wildcat quarterback or bulldozer. I mean, you can use it in spots, but if you're going to bring him in, throw the ball. I agree with you.
Yeah, run the regular offense. But I know they don't want to maybe create something that maybe not there with the controversy. But DG's not bad at he had a couple of big scrambles tonight. He's not good at the zone read and running the ball out of that. But the scrambles, he had a few pretty good scrambles tonight. But again, I'm just baffled that the University of Oklahoma tonight could not get the ball. How many deep balls did DG throw?
0.
None. We never went. Not one time did he throw one up in the air deep. Not once.
Not one time.
I don't understand that.
And if they are dropping safeties back, then the middle of the field, even underneath, there should be something there. So, yeah, I don't know. It was confusing there for a while. I'm glad when the kind of the rubber meet the road there, when it was 14-11, they bowed up and had 2 really good scoring touchdowns there. It was huge. The major play was great. And then obviously Farouk too. I mean, that was a great play after he caught the ball. And that was, I believe, after the penalties. So penalties. Let's talk about penalties for a second.
Yeah, bad
penalties tonight. A lot of penalties. Some of them were just you can't have. I mean, the lineman down the field, it kind of looked like he just forgot or something. He started running back. It was too late. Kanik on the one pass interference, he did grab him. He knew it. I don't think he needed to do that. He had Stutzman underneath him. But one thing about Kanik and just the linebacking crew in general, the difference in pass coverage between a guy like Kanik and David Agwebu is night and day. Remember last year, all the guys running open, I mean, either a running back or a tight end. It's just like, I mean, I don't want to call out one guy, but and then you also got Broyles, too, in the back end of that, he's a great, he's going to be a great coach, and he was a great motivator. But as far as talent, you can just tell the difference between some of this talent level they have back there.
I do like Walker's size on the outside in the secondary. That's huge. Billy Bowman struggled early in this game, settled down and was great really the whole last 3 quarters. But early on, Bowman had a couple opportunities for picks, didn't take advantage of those. But the run coverage, the help, Key Lawrence provides something that they haven't seen since with Lawrence and Pearson back there. That is some heavy hitters, something that they haven't seen since Brandon Everidge days down there in Norman. But Jay, you talked about when we were talking about the offense again. I don't understand the lack of going down the field. They did do the corner route, the flag route to Stoops in the end zone. I actually think they had someone down the middle of the field there. So I don't know if it's DG not seeing it. What it is.
And, after we watch it again, we'll be able to tell a little bit more focused on that stuff. But that's another guy, though, tonight. Where was Stoops? I mean, you had the one sideline route he got 8 yards on. And then the slant pass was huge, his catch on there and getting the first down. But not a whole lot from him either tonight. They just didn't throw it a whole lot, really, other than Anthony. I mean, they didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm still baffled that a guy that looks like Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson can't get a ball thrown their way. Farouk, we're not getting much separation either. Most of those guys are closely guarded.
Here's another thing that I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this going forward this year. Austin Stogner is not Braden Willis. He's not a guy that you're going to run a little flare pass to and him break a bunch of tackles. He's 6'6". He needs to be going down the field with a linebacker or something. Am I wrong on that? Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but to me is that type of tight end. kind of like Mark Andrews was, using the size down the field, not doing a little swing pass with like 2 yards. He's not going to break a lot of tackles, in my opinion. I think he needs to be more involved down the field. I really do.
Yeah, and Neo says it seems like Levy had his mindset on simply wearing SMU out. I agree with that. I was actually thinking, and Tolly Walker, I think someone brought it up earlier. Tolly Walker reminds me a lot of Samaje Perine. He's got a little bit of that in him. But I was thinking that, wow, it looks like OU's line is going to maybe wear them out a little bit. But you're right. I think he rode that too far and didn't trust the passing game. And then, Eric, do you all think they did this only run game to confuse our future games? It did seem a little vanilla. You did have the wheel route to Marcus Major later, but I don't know that it was I'm trying to wrap my head around the play calls tonight as well.
Hey, Eric, I see what he's saying there, and I thought about that during the game, and I was like, wait a second, though. They just hung 73 on Arkansas State, and if you go watch that game again, the first and second quarter, they were throwing it all over the field. So I don't know why they would not throw it on the field against a team that's a lot more capable of beating them, And a win is a win. I agree. A win is a win. And here's the truth of the matter. Looking at their schedule, guys, they're very lucky. They don't play K-State. They don't play Baylor, who they should have won today against Utah. And they don't play Texas Tech, who's ahead of Oregon right now. Or they were 20-18. So their schedule is, SMU's going to be, I think SMU's better than TU. I think there's better than Cincinnati. And then you got Iowa State, and then you got Texas. So the schedule opens up good. A win is a win. You're going to have to pretty much, if you want a chance there in the end to get in a playoff, you're going to have to win every game except Texas. And then you have to beat Texas in the Big 12 championship. That's
Lori and Randy are echoing exactly what we were saying earlier. We were just we could not believe some of the call. If I saw another dump down pass or just run up the middle, I just don't understand how you can throw the ball so many times down the field last week and did not throw one single pass over 20 yards tonight. Not one pass. I know their secondary was supposed to be pretty good, but we didn't even test them. We didn't even give the receivers a chance. So
it doesn't matter if they're pretty good or not. You're going to face a lot better secondaries than SMU. So if that's what we're looking for when we play Texas, it's going to be a long day. You're going to have to. We have good receivers. OU has good receivers. Let them try to make plays.
And I don't want to get into quarterback, but I'm with Lori. I have been. I was calling. And look, I don't know that they're ever going to do that, but I don't know. We know what OU knows what they have in Dylan Gabriel. He may not lose you games, but he's not the Baker, Kyler, things like that. And Jackson Arnold, we don't know what he can do, but we know he can sling the ball around the field a little bit. So maybe they don't trust DG as far as making progressions. I don't know. Baker says he disagrees about Levy, thinks Levy was holding back. That incredible Tulsa defense is waiting next week. Yeah, I sense the sarcasm there as well. Yeah.
43-10 to Washington.
Jay, I just want to ask you an honest question. I'm going to ask this of the viewers too. And I'm not here to jump on and get on any kid, a college athlete, but is OU with Jackson Arnold, are they way worse off? I think that's I don't know. I think they're as good, if not better, maybe. I just don't know. We didn't see Jackson Arnold at all tonight, but I don't know that Dylan Gabriel, pressure on, can make the progressions and get out the ball down the field. He likes to dump down too much.
Well, I think maybe Dylan's maybe his biggest I don't know if it's a weakness or whatever, but I think he a lot of times doesn't throw into tight coverage, and he doesn't take that play that you got one-on-one coverage with the guy down the field. Whereas maybe Jackson Arnold might throw that ball up. I don't know. And like I said, I'd have to go back and watch the film of this to see if there were guys down the field, because maybe Levy was running a bunch of guys short yardage. I mean, I have to see it again, but I find it hard to believe that you're going to throw that many balls down the field against Arkansas State and none tonight.
Not one deep ball was thrown tonight. It'll be interesting. I know they're in the post game right now. As far as what Jeff Levy says, and yeah, you're right. Jackson Arnold is a gunslinger, and maybe that's why, because he takes risks. But DG is going to have to go down the field. OU is not beating anyone with dump downs, and the Sawchuck. I am still baffled that Sawchuck got in there one time, carried the ball once. We never did anything out of the backfield to him. I don't know if he's in the doghouse.
Barnes had just 2 carries, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think Barnes just had 2 carries. I mean, so
hey, and Neil's right. Kudos to OU, because Jay and I were on the phone after SMU scored that and got the 2-point, right? And
yeah,
it was looking worrisome, and we both said the offense has a chance here to do something and answer. And they took 10 plays, 75 yards straight down the field. A couple of really massive plays was the Stoop slant pass. Tawi Walker on that possession, Jay. First play, we did a dump down, and he got hit behind the line of scrimmage and broke it for like a 12-yard gain. That was massive. And then, of course, the Marcus Major after penalties, being able to get that. And DG did throw 4 touchdowns tonight.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked when
4
I saw
TD passes.
Post-game interview, and they were like 4 touchdown passes. I was like, I just didn't imagine he threw 4 touchdown passes after watching that game.
I don't know what, and again, I think after we watch the game again, Jay, and fans, as you watch the game again this week before OU gets ready to go down to University of Tulsa next week. But if you watch this game again, maybe we can try to break it down, if it was more play calling or more just Gabriel settling.
I think the biggest
it's settling.
The biggest positive you can take away from this game is that the defense played great, and the tackling is just so crisper this year, I think. And you can take that from game to game. I mean, you hear defense travels. That's right, defense. If you have a good defense, you're going to be in every game, and you just got to be a little more wide open, as Venables likes to say with players. You got to be more wide open on offense, I think, and get some of these playmakers in open space and let them make plays.
Yeah, I mean, they got some dudes. I mean, OU's got some dudes out there, receiver. They got some dudes at tailback. I don't know. I'm at a loss on the offensive side of the ball. That's about the worst offense we've seen really since Kent State first half last year. Very similar. Second game last year.
Since Davis Bevel played. I mean, that's probably the worst. That's probably the worst half of offense. So you're probably right. I mean, it's been a long time since other than when Gabriel wasn't playing. But, they had spurts like that last year, though, now that I think about it. I mean, OSU, Texas Tech, they were on like gangbusters, on fire. The offense was rolling, and then they hit these spurts, and it's just like something's a little bit off. Either there's a bad pass behind somebody or somebody dropped it. There were some drops tonight. I mean, you had Anthony dropped one, you had Stoops, and then Freeman. Freeman was a little high, but still, he usually makes that play, and I'm sure he'd tell you he should have made the play. But
yeah, and you do have to, as Neil says here, you got to be as far as mix and match. You can't be this.
Yeah,
you can't just chunk it. I agree with that too, but
the dink and dunk is what sets up the deep ball. But if you're going to dink and dunk it most of the game, then you should have somebody maybe down the field later on in the game open. You should use it, like he said, to its advantages, because those are almost like running plays.
Yeah, and I don't even know if DG is going to pursue an NFL career. You heard in the before the season that they pretty much said this is DG's last year at OU. I mean, that was kind of said, even though he's got another year of eligibility. So whether or not he gets picked up by a team, he's going to have to take some chances. And I don't know. There was that one that just about got picked. He got it deflected up the line. His size is not great, in the middle. When he's in the middle of the pocket, especially on slant routes. That's the thing that I don't understand. And Gerald says Jeff Lebby sucks. That was insane quarterback draws with no other option. That was absolutely nuts. We got running back, the deepest backfield in the country. And Gerald, you're right, but OU didn't use all 4 guys. Like, it was.
Where's Barnes and Sawchuk? I don't understand it. I still don't. That's all they talked about in the offseason was the depth. And that, I mean, did you not, Jeremy, and I ask our viewers this too. I mean, you can put it in the comments. Raise your hand if you thought Barnes and Sawchuk would be 1-2. I did. After the Cheez-It Bowl, I thought those are the 2 best backs. And they haven't played that much. Barnes got more carries last week, but this week he only got 2. And Sawchuk 1. I don't know. I'm a little confused by that.
And again, this is not a shot at Tolly Walker, because Tolly Walker was
he
maybe
was great.
He may have
Walker
been the MVP
great.
on offense tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, and Marcus Major made a heck of a play to put this game out of reach. I mean,
yeah.
So those 2 guys did some great things. I just don't understand. And one thing that I don't like about Lebby's offense compared to Lincoln Riley, and I'd hate to even bring up Tebow from out there, but listen, you got to go 2 backs. OU's got to play some 2-back sets.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, when Arnold came in and ran that Wildcat, they kind of used Walker as like a lead blocker, but put Walker as a lead blocker with Sawchuk behind him. I mean, right? But
hey, what someone said earlier about saving it, Lebby saving it. I mean, that's one thing that with the Jackson Arnold package, with him only running the ball, it could be that he's setting something up, for Texas game or something like that. I could see that. And, while Lebby is aggravating, he says sometimes I'm not willing to throw him under the bus yet.
No.
And I would agree with that, because he's one of the brightest minds in the game. But
his
tonight, I was just baffled.
His offense and his play calling when he's doing it right he's one of the best there is. I think so. And Jeremy, we argued all year last year about Lebby. I'm a Lebby backer. You were kind of a little hesitant last year. I still think Lebby's great offensive play caller. I think it was big. He was just in a funk tonight or something on play calling. Or maybe he thought, okay, they're dropping back covers, so there's nothing deep. And he thought they could pound the ball and run it. They just weren't. I mean, other than Walker, the O-line wasn't blowing people off the ball.
No, the O-line was not near as good as maybe I thought it would be as far as that, even with some pressure that DG had on him. But Sooner Fan does bring up something, because even the announcers on television alluded that Stogner was open a few times. That has been my concern with DG, is can he make the progressions and make those, and stay in the pocket long enough to make those throws. Seems like if the first guy is covered up, he's dumping down. So, should we get Garrett Riley? Obviously not. They lost the first week. Clemson did. So
they look better today.
Garrett Riley's not great.
66 points today, but yeah, I mean, the offense will be fine. I think. To me, the biggest thing is going to be when you get in these really tight games. How is DG and Lebby? How are they going to respond? Because you got to be kind of like, I think Lori was saying, you got to be a little bit of a risk taker on some things. If you don't have guys wide open, you're going to have to throw them open, or you're going to have to throw it up where they can make a play on it.
Yeah, and I mean, last year, look, OU did not have the luxury of having one behind DG. And this year, they do have a guy that we know is super uber talented, can sling it all over the place, maybe knows the offense pretty well. Lebby is very high on him, but the thing is, the Denny Green quote, they are who we thought they were. I think this is what maybe we're starting to see with DG. He is what we thought he was, and I don't think he's going to – maybe their defense, he may be a guy who can not make mistakes, and they can go a long way with this defense, but there's got to be – with these amount of playmakers on the field, there's got to be more plays than what was had tonight.
Oh, yeah. And I just don't think I just don't think it was very open at all. And I mean, the press conference at Levy will be interesting because, I mean, hopefully he gets asked about it. It just felt really conservative to me.
Yeah. And I hope people would say that it's a vanilla thing, but I just can't see that because last week they threw the ball down the field.
It sounded like he got
again.
It sounded like he was getting booed.
Hey, and this is exactly what Sooner fans said here. Is exactly the arguments we got in last year here on the Sooner Surge because he won't lose a game. I agree because he won't take risk, but he can be a reason we lose because he won't take risk. And at some point, you got to take risk and give the ball to the receivers a chance to make a play. If you dink and dunk all the way down the field, it's going to be a long season. And that's not, I mean, you've got to sling the ball down the field.
Yeah, I mean, what's the ceiling with DG, guys? I mean, as far as wins,
I think we've seen the ceiling.
How many wins do you think with DG this year's quarterback if he plays every game?
Well, here's the deal.
How many do you think they lose?
The schedule sets up for them. I mean, I think their only loss could be Texas, and then
even with DG, right?
With DG, Texas in the Big 12 title game. But here's the deal: you've got to win every game. Maybe lose to Texas and then play them again and beat them in the Big 12 title game. But is DG that guy? That's the question. And Jeff Levy, something's got to change a little bit.
DG's never played against Texas either. That's going to be, and I think they're getting ready to beat Bama if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it on right now doing this, but I think they were up 2016 and maybe getting ready to score again. So, man, it'd be interesting to see for sure. They got to figure some things out offensively with even with the rotation at receiver. I mean, didn't see a whole lot of Freeman or Gibson at all today, did we?
Jay, I don't know who we saw at receiver because we didn't throw the ball to him. The tight end, the tailbacks, they almost are the ones that got all the plays outside of a 5-yard quick slant. That's all OU was doing was 5-yard quick slants, flare route dump downs. It was shocking. But I agree. The harder the competition, it seems like he panics a little early and dumps it down, doesn't stay there and go through the progressions. Texas does look good right now. I'm going to shout out Everett. I thought Everett came in for Savion Byrd early.
Yeah, when Byrd got whooped on one of the plays.
And Everett played pretty well. The O-line was nothing like they were last week. Obviously different opponent. Chapman got through there several times, easily.
Well, their defensive line's pretty good. I mean,
I
SMU.
agree.
So we knew they would kind of be tested a little bit more tonight, OU's offensive line. So, I mean, Raym had a couple of really good blocks, but and this is a great point. Texas always plays well in the non-conference. That's great. That's true. That's true. But, and I do think watching a little bit of that game tonight, Alabama, Milroe's not it. He's not it at quarterback for Alabama.
Hey, and what does that prove, Jay?
You got to have a quarterback, really good quarterback.
You got to have a dude. You got to have a dude at quarterback.
Yeah.
There were some that says Eric says I'm feeling like a Caleb Williams type season with DG. I think are you Eric? Are you meaning that the fans are going to be calling for Jackson Arnold, kind of like they did Caleb Williams? Is that what you're referring to, Eric? I think that may be what you're referring to. Now I don't know. I know it sounds like there are some boo birds.
I think that's about for Levy.
For Levy, that's what I'm saying, for Levy. And hey, this too. And Eric did say yepper on that, but Jay, we've talked about this. We know that Levy is a big Jackson Arnold guy. Great job recruiting Jackson Arnold. Kudos to Levy for landing that. But should he have given Jackson Arnold the keys to the car right now? Because is he too loyal to DG? And there does seem to be a high loyalty. I mean, even hear guys, the coaches say he won't be there next year, even though he possibly could be there. What's that tell you? It's like his going away party this year. I mean, when will – now, I'm not saying you bench him, but when will they go to Jackson Arnold, at least let him sling the ball around a little bit?
Well, why don't – here's what I don't understand is if you go back to last week's game against Arkansas State, they came out firing, throwing the ball everywhere, right? Even when Jackson Arnold came in the third and fourth quarter, he was 11-11. They were throwing it down the field to Gibson. Why does that? And then you come to today and there's nothing down the field. I'm very interested to hear what Levy says on that. I mean, was there something he was seeing that? I mean, I'm just confused.
No, and Baker, exactly right. 100%.
Yeah, he's right on this. He's right.
Anytime that he has to make a read, he does get happy feet, especially in bigger games. He won't stay in there long enough, and he goes to the check down. And I just don't know how many big games you can win with that. And you're right. He doesn't look comfortable scrambling in the pocket and trying to find guys open. Part of it could be his size. He's not the tallest of guys in the middle of the pocket.
He doesn't make a whole lot of throws on the run. I mean, even the Preston Stone kid for SMU made a couple of. I mean, he was running for his life and throws it up and makes plays. And that's just not Dylan Gabriel's game. Dylan Gabriel, to me, is a good quarterback.
He's a game manager.
He's a system, kind of like a system quarterback. He's not a guy that when a play breaks down or a few guys aren't open, he's going to go like make something crazy happen. I just don't think that's his game. I think he's good at, and we've talked about this before, when the play opens up and it's open, he's pretty dang accurate.
Yeah, and I think he's probably a really good leader and things like that. He's going to have to prove, to me at least, that he can make winning plays and play championship plays, championship plays.
At the same time, Levy's going to, if Levy would have thrown it 50 times today, we would have really seen what Gabriel, I mean, you know what I mean? Didn't throw it a whole lot down the field. And I don't know if that was Gabriel, like you said, Gabriel not seeing people, or Levy just didn't have any guys going down the field.
Hey, and you're Big Tulsa here. Marcus Major early, yeah, he was getting stuffed. Most of them were. Ty Walker came in and was able to bounce some, able to carry some guys, some yards, kind of shifted the running game. But at halftime, OU had 104 rushing yards and only 64 passing yards, which is shocking. Javonte Barnes, not sure where he was, Big Tulsa, and Gavin Sawchuk. I'm not sure what's going on in the running back room because we've heard all offseason OU is very deep, but they seem to really go with two main guys today.
Yeah, I agree, Eric. Got to give him a chance to make plays. Just like last week with Jaden Gibson, throw it up for grabs, let him make a play. I mean, guys, we saw this last year, though, not just with DG, but with the offense, right? They would go in these spurts where it's like 3 screens in a row or something like that, and they just get nothing. The difference was tonight their defense just played outstanding. I mean, hey, kudos for Jacob Lacey for getting the start, and he played pretty well. DeJohn Terry came on the inside, played well. The D-line, although they didn't get sacks, they did get some pressure to make the guy throw it a little earlier. And then Kip Lewis, to me, if he puts on a little bit more weight, Kip Lewis is going to be a dog at linebacker. I mean, he just seems like he's got a knack for being where the ball is and making plays. And I kind of think the ceiling for him is very high.
Yeah, you're right. Defensively, it was great. It's about 45 minutes here on this live. I know we're going to get off here in a few minutes and maybe listen to some post-game reaction and watch some tape of this. And we really appreciate you guys being on here, having some interaction. As Sooner fans, we know it's very we like to vent. We like to be frustrated. This was a game that had that. You want to pull your hair out sometimes. But let's look at what happened tonight. OU beat a team, covered, wins 28-11, kind of going away there against a team that probably, if you look at it, top 3 toughest on their schedule possibly.
Yeah,
especially offensively, this is one of the tougher opponents. So one thing we can take away, Jay, is the defense may be for real. This could be a for real defense.
Yeah.
11 points, 2 games.
I think you're right. I mean,
One touchdown.
They had the first touchdown, almost 8 quarters in. They scored in the fourth quarter, I think.
Hey, and that touchdown was because of the passing. OU had them stop there. It probably held them to a field goal, made it 14-6.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Hey, guys, Sooner Surge family, thank you so much for being on here. Again, we do have a Discord server. You can see it. It's $4.99 a month. You can see it in the comments or on our channel. We would love for you to be a part of it. Get 24/7 access with the Sooner Surge team, commenting during game, talking during games. You guys are great viewers and listeners and great fans. We appreciate your interaction on here, keeping it all good and clean. So appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for much more content coming your way from the Sooner Surge. Till next time, guys. Boomer, good win tonight.
Boomer Sooner.